Okay, hello. It's been a while since I last did a lesson with my coach here. And so here we have, for the first time in a long time, FM Alessandro Manzone. Alessandro, nice to see you again. And I can definitely notice your new webcam, which looks great. You've recently started a YouTube channel, and we already have a viewer joined already. So welcome, Master of the Mystic Arts. Um, can you let my viewers know what your YouTube channel is about? And if anyone is curious, as you can see below his webcam there, it's FM Ale Manzone. If you search that into YouTube, shoot him a couple of subs. And yeah, Alessandro, can you just let us know what your YouTube channel is about and what your plans are for it in the future?
Thanks a lot, Tyler. Nice to see you again, by the way. It's been a long time. Really happy. Um, but yeah, I mean, I started the channel. I'm going to be uploading content on, well, pretty much everything. I'm doing speed runs, and also, well, instructional content more than anything, and commentated games. I'm focusing heavily on the middle game. Um, I want to reach to all publics, but I think adult improvers will really like the channel, particularly, and lower intermediate players and above. I think they're the ones that are going to benefit the most from it.
I think there's a bit of a niche for YouTubers like you who aren't grandmasters but aren't untitled players. You're kind of in an interesting spot where you're an FM, a strong FM with an IM norm. I think it's because I think there's a bit of a different perspective, I would think, from a player of your strengths compared to, let's say, like a strong grandmaster. Because you're not too, I mean, you are and you aren't, but you're not like super far removed from some of the aspiring adult players. Whereas sometimes grandmasters can be, because it's been so long since they've been at the lower levels,
Yeah, if there's especially strong grandmaster like a super grandmaster or close, like they would start shooting lines
Yeah.
almost inevitably, because it's in, like, I mean, they see everything instantly, so
Yeah.
so it tends to come natural to them. But yeah, I can definitely refrain from that because I don't see nearly as much as they do. But yeah, I want to keep it instructive. I hope it people find it, well, useful above everything.
Yeah, I watched every video so far except for like one of the openings ones because I don't play the opening. But I think your videos are a good length, and you're off to a great start. It's only your channel's only about like a couple weeks old, and you're already growing pretty quickly. So yeah, good luck to that on in the future.
Thanks a lot. Hope it hope it goes well. Yeah, I'm gonna follow in your footsteps. I'm watching your channel too. I follow closely, so I learn. um, there's a lot to learn. It's very interesting, really.
Okay, great.
So I
So
saw you played a new tournament.
oh,
Nice.
let's not talk about that. No, oh, that was
Oh, you're not
rough.
gonna like what you're gonna see then.
That was rough. Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna present you some positions. I know it's hard to go back to this, but I think there were some very instructive moments. That's why we're not going to make the grueling thing of going through all the games again. Not at all, I promise. Uh, but I want to examine your thought process at some particular points of every game. Just one moment. Uh, in fact, I think something that can be done with the games, if not going through all of them, if that's too heavy, because it's a heavy task and there's a lot to examine, um, just pick a moment of the game and try to learn the most you can from it. And that's what I try to do with the games here. Um, because when I was going through your videos, I watched the videos on that you made on the games, and there were some particularly interesting things. For example, this is from
Round
the
one.
800 guy,
Yeah.
who was clearly better than that,
It's hard now,
much
man.
better than
The
that.
800s are tough.
Yeah, no, uh, it's insane. I mean, he should be like, I don't know, 15, 1600 at least. It's, I don't know.
Yeah.
um, yeah, no, in reality, no one blunders anymore. You have
Yeah.
to fight for every win. I mean,
Yeah.
that
No
the
easy
easy win
games
doesn't
anymore.
exist.
Yeah. They're not like guaranteed easy games where you win in 10 minutes anymore. Yeah.
Not
That's,
even the first round. No,
yeah. Yeah.
doesn't happen.
Hmm.
It's the complaint of every title player nowadays. I mean,
Yeah.
there are no easy rounds.
Hmm.
Even open tournaments don't look nearly as um, they're not even similar as they used to be. It's insane. In the past, you would just uh, get a couple of walkovers
Hmm.
on the first round or in the first few rounds. So that's how it felt. Nowadays, everyone plays well.
Yeah.
Well, your opponent was playing well.
Hmm.
um, and you were thinking about Bishop F5 here. That's what I noticed in your video.
Yeah.
You were really obsessed with getting
Hmm.
rid of this guy here on
Hmm.
H3.
And I
um,
could have, but with the rook, I forgot about that maneuver. F5, rook F4, rook H4.
yeah,
I forgot about that.
there is a, though I think there is like fundamental flaw with thinking of Bishop F5 here. Um, it's not that I dislike B3. It's probably a move you're gonna make anyway because you need to defend. I mean, this structure is just too natural. You have to have C4 defended. Um, but what I don't like is the idea of it's changing the light squares bishop as a whole. Um, and what do you think that is?
Well, that is my good bishop because the majority of my pawns are on dark squares. Um, and I guess that is one of the attackers of the H3 pawn, which is on a light square.
Exactly. As simple as you put it there. And you have a lot of holes on the light squares. And it's not even that you're going to get stuck with the bad bishop, which you are. But you have so many holes. Like everything is so airy there that if this bishop disappears, you're going to have a very tough time defending everything. And you're going to get stuck with a bad bishop versus a knight that really can improve a lot. Notice how dependent you will be on this pawn staying on c4. That would you need the pawn to stay there, or else he also gets d5, and then you can't move. That's why I wasn't really so fond of this idea. And I think you mentioned, or at least in the analysis of the games that you sent me, f5 was named as the move.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Just
and it's actually a pretty strong move.
yeah. I've seen this idea before of not necessarily F5, but just this rook lift. I've seen that before. And I do remember thinking about that during the game at some point, but obviously I forgot about it at this exact point in the game.
Yeah, and also the pawn f5 is pretty strong. It kills this knight. It
Yeah.
really messes with this bishop's mobility. And he will have to go back, and none of these pieces have any good prospects. Let's say he goes back to d7. You can play b3 even here probably, or rook h3. You have the rook lift if you dare, and that's fine. But even if you don't play it, I think it's a much superior version of what you played in the game. I know he will have to do something like this or try at least. But you have so much extra space that um, you can probably deal with it. Like queen f2, if knight h7, bishop d2, you can reroute that bishop even. That would be a dream because it's not doing much on c3.
Maybe
But
just, yeah.
most importantly, you're fixing sort of fixing the problems on the light squares because you're not giving his pieces access. It's not that b3 is a big mistake or anything, but the whole idea of it's changing these two, I didn't trust it. I even have trouble thinking that you will get time to actually get that h3 pawn without suffering on the light squares. I don't even like this move, particularly bishop g4. I don't know what it does, but um, and yeah, here you mentioned that you were considering this, but you rejected it due to a tactic. You saw bishop takes, queen takes, and then rook e3.
No, that was
Um,
that. I think that was post analysis.
oh, you didn't see it during the game. Oh, okay, yeah,
No,
yeah, maybe that was it.
but I
Oh, you
did,
saw rook e2.
yeah, I did reject it. That's probably why. I probably because of rookie two, I
Uh,
rejected it. Yeah,
which is also a pretty compelling reason. I have to.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Your queen f2. Yeah, I think at this moment you do have to play f5 because 96 hits d4 and um,
Yeah,
very hard to sustain. And
that's
the
always my
problem is that
problem in this line, right? It's always the stupid d4 pawn. It's always the bane of my existence in this. That's the only annoyance for me. Yeah.
and it's hard to defend.
But do you
Really,
remember? Do
we're
you
gonna see
remember?
something similar.
In because we analyzed this from my like the same opening from in rounds 1 and rounds 9 from the 2024 New Year's Open when my opponents attacked the d4 pawn, and I remember you telling me, and also the engine, that simply bishop c3 defending the pawn was a good solid move, and I did do it this game, right? So I which did help out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I it does the job definitely. The problem is that you're not really achieving any space advantage here. I think that's why it needed f5. At this point, you need to play f5 just to stop 96. That's that's crucial because as the game went, queen f2, 96. Well now. F5, I think you mentioned, I don't know if at this point, I'm trying to remember, that there are some tactics with knight takes, followed by rook a8, and the bishops are lined up on the d file. I don't know if it was at this
No,
point
it was
particularly.
when I forked. It was after the fork.
Oh, it was after.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, but, well, even this is something to worry about at this point, I guess. Knight g5 and rook a8, knight f3, everything is. No, his pieces are actually doing some damage here, apparently. But rook fe1, the problem is that here now you need to exchange the light square bishops just to keep the d4 pawn alive. And that really hurt your position. It set your opponent just gave you a huge opportunity here. He played the wrong pawn. What do you think he should play?
Oh,
Because this exchange was great for him.
Is this when he
got
played
everything he
c5?
wanted. That's what he played. He played c5, which is a huge positional mistake.
Oh, sorry. No,
His worst.
sorry. If you go,
Yeah.
I'm just going to go back. No, yeah. It was. I thought there was a fork. I thought. Did we pass that already? No. Yeah.
Maybe it was one of the
Yeah.
sidelines with f5.
I think we might have already passed it here because didn't I take I took something here and then I can't remember when.
Oh yeah, no, since I picked this moment of
It
the
was
game,
before. It was before move 19, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I
fine.
think-
Okay, sorry. Okay, so sorry. You said what
Yeah.
should he have played instead of c5?
Yeah, c5. Well, it brings the
Yeah.
bishop back to life.
Oh no, I loved it. I
fits
love
in the
c5.
structure. Yeah, it's his biggest mistake of the game. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
positionally speaking, so as far as chess understanding goes, c5 is blunder. What do you think he should play, though?
Well,
What's the reasonable plan?
from everything you said, I mean, it's a little bit different now. But if he plays f5, then I can't play f5 anymore. So that takes f5 away from me. Apart from that, I don't know what it helps him with, though. I'm just looking at
That's reasonable.
G5 is interesting.
Opening things up like this, well,
Yeah.
then this bishop will also become like
Okay.
a problem.
I was looking at B5 just to open up the center, like the C file, and then the D file gets weak.
Oh, sorry, you mean b5?
Yeah,
b5
yeah,
here?
yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry, I understood
No,
g5.
no, I did say G5, but now I was looking
Okay.
at B. I'm saying every legal pawn move now until I'm right.
And that's actually an excellent move. Black is trying to seize all the light squares. He will undermine this pawn and put pressure on it. And if you push, it's game over. He gets the 5 on top of all the other light squares that he already controls. Um, Now you're gonna have a lot of problems in this position. For example, something like pawn takes, queen a3, and then the queen to a4 to attack this. That will be very hard. It's gonna be a very tough thing to defend this pawn on c4 and not push it. Um, and yeah, he just tried to just steal the light squares from you entirely. That's why c5 was so bad. I mean, he just fits your pawn structure so that this bishop is excellent. But with b5, and it's a pretty thematic pawn thrust too. That's why I wanted to show this Moch versus or uh, versus Arcane game, because it instantly reminded me of this, and that's why it's important to go through the classics. And this looks pretty uneventful. Not much seems to be going on, but this is the typical Slav with black's pawn on d5 when white pushes e4 and then we exchange. This is how this pawn structure appears.
Almost looks like a
And
Scandi.
while there are a lot of what, sorry, or scan,
Yeah, it looks
yeah,
similar.
it can also, yeah. It's very different when there are more minor pieces around. Because white enjoys a space advantage, but a lot of pieces have left the board already. We're almost in something that seems to be going towards an endgame. But even that being the case, Arkan didn't take. He wants to make his opponent pawns be all on the dark squares if he can, and he keeps the queen to help dominate the light squares before he goes for any exchanges. Um, Moch makes a very hard, a very ugly move. This f4. I don't exactly know what he was thinking about, but probably some combination of rook ad8 and some e5 in the future, or bishop g5. I don't really know what bothered him so much to play a move like this. But black's plan still remains the same. Rook fb8, mounting the pressure on the semi-backward pawn. I mean, it's on the same line as this one, but it's never going to d5, so it's still a target. Queen e3, h5. Notice how black just puts everything on light squares, and white can't do anything about this. Of course, Monk should just play b3 and keep everything together like that. He plays b4, which is again positional blunder. And I think you all know the move now. b5, and that's it. That I say that's it because this is just positional chaos for white. We also get the d5 square, and white can barely move. This bishop is, well, another pawn. You can count it as a pawn almost. C takes B will be followed by C takes B, and we have this
So
terrible weakness on d4.
So
I
what?
know b4 wasn't great. Yeah.
So what would Black's plan be here if c5 instead? Like
Okay.
breaking. Well, because even a5 doesn't do anything there.
If I c5. Okay, how can we add more pressure on that pawn? So I was checking out the tactics with this, but there is still pawn takes. Um, I'm thinking of getting the queen to c4 if it's somehow possible. Play rook d5 and maybe try e5. Good thing is that you can play this on forever and white can do absolutely nothing. So drawing some more weaknesses from him would be a pretty great result. For example, with this pawn being a little bit weak in the sense that it's not defended by another pawn, I would love to provoke g3. That's more weaknesses around the king. So a plan like rook d5 just to start with, and something like queen g4, rook f5 to, well, try to make him push this g3
What
pawn
about
eventually.
what about h4?
H4 is definitely an option. And you always have him guessing, maybe I will play h3 or maybe I will just wait there until I can. um, that's what we call the principle of the two weaknesses. Because he has a huge one here on d4. That's really easy to just get all his pieces tied down to the d4 pawn. You normally need one more weakness for white's position to collapse, and you will have to provoke that. Just the king is a good candidate. Like the king position is something that you could count as a second weakness if he pushes g3, and you actually can get something very similar to your game if the pawn ends up on h3. But yeah, this is just really not to stand still, and that's very hard to do. It's probably not even possible to defend this in the long run. You can think of a maneuver like getting the bishop to c7, just to start putting pressure there. If not, you can get the rook to a8 and push a5 with the bishop on c7. You can play a
It
million maneuvers here, and eventually white
it's
will have to give some ground.
and it's risk free for Black.
Yeah, totally. Because he's paralyzed. He doesn't have any control of the light squares. He's lost everything. He has a textbook bad bishop versus versus pieces that just do whatever they want. This bishop is great. It's free to maneuver everywhere to provoke more weaknesses. Um, yeah, it's typical with this type of static weaknesses that you can't really get rid of, such as the d4 pawn. They don't fall immediately. Normally, your opponent will be able to make you work for it, but it's risk free. And the biggest weakness of the d4 pawn is that it ties down all of white's pieces. So if you start maneuvering here, he won't get everywhere in time. If he will have to defend this, okay, he might not want to push the pawn, but then if you get the rook back to d8 and try rook a8, a5, then he won't be able to be everywhere at the same time. Um, and you can play pretty much everywhere. Your pieces are much more mobile, and you have no targets that he can take advantage of. So the second he gets another weakness, well, it gets much easier. It gets much easier. You can play queen g4, h4, maybe get a sudden attack because his pieces are all tied down to the pawn. But yeah, that's um, and there was some resemblance to your game, but of course, at least he should play this. You still go b5 here though, because the idea is to undermine c4 and eventually make him push. And you're still following the same pattern. You're just putting everything on the light squares with the aim of completely dominating. And white is really hanging on a thread here because this is the only pawn that's keeping his position more or less playable. Not even good, just barely playable. That's, well, bottom line. That's why I didn't like the exchange of the light square bishop. You get something similar to this, not exactly the same, but I think it was definitely not the idea. And it's something that uh, maybe it wasn't so present in your thought process. I don't know. What do you think?
Um, well, I think it was more. I think my thinking was a bit more tactical in that position because I thought that I was going to win the h3 pawn. Um, yeah, because I think I did recognize that it was my good bishop. Um,
Funnily enough, even if you get to win this pawn, he might be invading quickly and getting quite good compensation for it. That's another interesting thing to notice. Um, Even if somehow you could just play bishop f5 and he'll help by trading immediately, then maybe rook e2, rook e8, rook c2. Even losing that pawn might not be the end of the world for white, and you still have all the weaknesses that will probably make you give something back at least.
really, like that wouldn't be good
It's,
for white if instead of b3. Well, how I don't know how that would work though.
yeah, let's say worst case scenario for him, and he just goes for this.
Yeah, yeah.
And now you're taking this pawn. Let's say he's just letting go of the pawn.
Actually, he might have even have just had queen d7 there.
Yeah, it's also true that he doesn't even have to drop the pawn.
Yeah.
He can defend. Let's say he doesn't. And like, this is your best,
My
your
dream.
best
Yeah.
bet, probably. It's still not great. I mean, his rooks look really, really threatening here. I don't know. Even if you get
Rook
rook
f1.
e1 in, I like b5 still. The queen invading. Your king is so open that he can't even justify giving up the pawn here. I think he's so active and your king is so open that it's very, very hard to defend a position with. If your pawn was on f2, it might be a different story, but there's just too much air in front of that king. And his pieces have too much access.
It's funny. There's a line in this opening where black just plays f5 early on move like 6 or like move 6 or 7 and just completely gives it away for nothing. Like because it doesn't matter. The extra f pawn doesn't really matter. Black is solid enough, and it's totally equal for black. So black can just play f5 early and get rid of it. It's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there's some resemblance with,
Yeah.
with this maybe. Yeah, I put another example here. It's a bit redundant though. I mean, it's just much against Rubinstein, losing in pretty much the same way as in the game against Alekhine. I don't know how that happened, but the games were on consecutive years and still didn't seem to learn from it. Even though he was a very strong player, I mean, he kind of fell for the same thing with the b5 and the undermining of the light squares. This is another. You played a very strong opponent. I really liked how you played this game, though. I love the queen c7, queen b8 stuff. That was really good. You improved your pieces without weakening yourself at all.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. Like it wasn't like an amazing move, but it was a nice idea. And as I wrote in my annotations, I didn't see it. I spent a very long time on it because I didn't have much space here, and I was trying to figure out what to do. And then I realized, it's kind of like crossing the street because the C file is a busy highway, and it's scary to go right in the middle of the highway, and you kind of ruled it out, or at least I do. Like you're like, I'm not going to put the queen on this dangerous file, but I'm not going to stay there forever, so I can move. You know? Yeah. So once I saw it, I thought, this is a good idea, and so I was happy about that.
Cool analogy. Yeah. Exactly. And you connected the rooks with that.
Yeah.
now you're ready to fight for the c file. You weren't, now you are. So yeah, I mean, this looks like a pretty solid position. I know he has more space and everything, but it's fairly typical in this
He,
accelerated dragon type of position.
you know, after well, it's a delayed sodium attack. You know, it's because it was in the 93.
Okay.
But after I posted the video, my opponent watched the video and he left a long comment on what some of his thought process was on his moves. So he explained like why he moved his bishop. Because I was wondering why he played. I think we've already passed the move, but I think when he played bishop d2, he said he was planning to open up the center was like e5, and he wanted the bishop to help support it. So that's why he moved the bishop. And before that, something about when he moved the rook, he wanted to play bishop c3, but there was some tactic that didn't allow it. But yeah, he explained some of his moves there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
This is a long shot, though. I mean, I don't see this happening so easily. It's tough. It's tough with the bishop on g7, but maybe in the long run. But he was playing well. He was being patient. He didn't do anything crazy. He enjoyed some space advantage. But
He's patient.
Solid.
He was very patient.
No big deal.
Yeah. This was a game of patience, I think.
And it paid off big time here when you played b5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I instantly disliked it when
I
saw
know.
the move.
I know.
I didn't actually get it.
This is a move that just for you personally, you just shudder and you get a shiver. You're like, oh.
Yeah, it can't work. No matter. Just I don't think I can justify this with tactics at all. Like knight c6, bishop takes, pawn takes. If I can't take this one out immediately, I mean, I'm out of this line. I'm not playing this.
I just thought I just thought it was overextended. I thought I could grab it with the knight going to e7. Yeah.
Fine line between overextension and just a huge pass pawn that's going to kill you.
And having no good blockaders. Have to blockade with the rook. Yeah.
And the problem is, it's hard to blockade the pawn on the 6th rank. I mean, on the 5th rank, okay. I mean, the knight on c7, it's still pretty strong. That pawn on c6, it went too far. It's even if indirectly so, it's supported by the bishop, and the need to play e5. And this is something you saw beforehand when you played b5, isn't it?
Yeah. Otherwise, they definitely wouldn't have played b5. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a good indication that that this whole plan is wrong, because you kill the pride of your position, that excellent bishop. Right. You leave a backward pawn. At some point, it feels like even if you get the pawn, it won't be for too long. And you still get stuck with this, and it's not clear at all how you get to it. Yeah, I saw that you weren't seeing anything too concrete, like how to maneuver the knight to get here. For example, it's absolutely impossible. You need for it to go to e7, and that's never going to happen here.
One of the other one of the other issues of why I did play b5, because it wasn't a move like I was thrilled about playing, but I was having trouble finding alternative ideas. That was part of the issue.
About b5
instead of b5.
Yeah, well, when that happens, a good default for your thought process is don't touch pawns. Look for
less committal
move by piece that doesn't do much, and that's probably
I need to watch more Ulf Anderson games.
Yeah, exactly. Just
do
grab
nothing.
your hand, don't allow it to touch any pawns, because yeah. Yeah, even rook f8. I mean, if you're anticipating something on the e file, well, that's what he wanted to do. I don't know if that's going to happen. What alternatives do you have here? Honestly, it's not that easy to play. does require patience. You might go rook c7. I like the plan. I don't know if it's tactically possible, even slightly justified. But I want to get the knight to d7 and go to e5 and c5. Uh, I know bishop b8 is a weird move to play. I'm just hoping that it will be temporary, and then I can do something with this knight, which I really don't know what to do about. But even a waiting game seems to make sense. Rook c7, rook f8, rook fd8. In case things open up, you have the f rook on a better square. Yeah, I know it feels cramped, but this position are just like this. The problem for White is that every time he wants to do something active, he weakens himself. It plays out a little bit similar as in the hedgehog positions where you're really um, well, you're playing within your first three ranks, and it's a tough thing to do. But you're waiting for White to do something absurd and just weaken himself. Maybe some way too quick f4 and e5, which just opens his king a little bit too much and weakens his pawns. It tends to work like that, unfortunately.
I
I
had
know
to.
rook c5, rook c4, they all look
Yeah,
reasonable. I even have trouble
yeah.
choosing
I should have
one
just
of them.
doubled up on the C file. That would have been simplest, I think. Because then I at least I feel like I'm doing something progressive instead of something a lot slower, like rook f8.
Hmm.
Doubling up on the C file would be more active.
Yeah, it's something to think about. Like when you really don't know what to do, I mean, pawn moves are. At least I'll be very focused on the fact that this leaves c6 are quite weak, and the consequences are really unexpected. So, and you're waiting for him to jump in here. But even if you believe that knight c6 at this point isn't the greatest move, and that he should wait and prepare, well, you're definitely giving him something to play for. What I don't know is what b5 does besides weakening c6, because you're not really getting any attack. I mean, normally you do this in the Sicilian to put pressure on the pawn on the c file to play minority attack. Here you don't have anything even remotely resembling that. So the expansion seems like it's just weakening. Yeah, he exploited it well. I mean, he can play this right away. Rook takes e5, of course, and that's it. You lose material. And e5, well, kills this poor bishop, and this pawn is a potential target. I found it funny that he played this rook to c3. I was expecting rook to c1. I mean, this one is already on the file. I don't know if there's a big difference, uh, but I was surprised. Not that it changes the evaluation probably, but um, but yeah, I just wanted to notice maybe the flaw in the thought process in that what should your default be in these positions when you really don't have a clear plan. And sometimes I don't know, some coach will kill me for saying this, but sometimes it's okay not to have a plan because there's nothing that clear that you can do in a position like this to make your position better. So when you don't have a clear direction of play, just improving your position little by little and not breaking anything, sometimes it's just good enough, and
Yeah.
it's all you can ask from the position,
I
if
I
that
really
makes sense.
should I really should look at some Ulf Anderson games if I don't fall asleep watching them. But something about him being famous for kind of doing nothing and just moving king back and forth, or for like 30
Yep.
moves is kind of appealing. It's kind of interesting. He's just the patience of a saint.
I love it really. I love those games because it's. I mean, after 20 moves, you look at both players' positions, and he made progress somehow in the sense that his opponent's position is worse, and you don't even know how that happened. And that's what people complain about. I mean, I don't know what I did wrong, and I lost.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was just making very getting very
Yeah.
slow, very
Like,
little
yeah.
concessions.
Kind of like Karpov too, similar
Mm,
style.
that style, exactly. Um, well, I know this must have been frustrating.
Oh,
this
this one.
this
Oh
level,
man, this guy, the draw master, Cliff. Ugh.
the drum master.
Yeah, he just even before he sat down, I knew he was going for a draw. I just because from the first game, oh, he just yeah, I just knew he was playing for a draw, and I tried everything. As soon as the game got out of the rocky opening, I knew he was playing for a draw, and so at that point, I was already to try to get some imbalance or some edge, but I couldn't. He locked. I don't know. He locked it down. He's really good at drawing me.
I think you were doing very well, though. I mean, you improved your position. I would hate to play this as white. You're way more active. He might fall for some tactic at some point. For example, here. Oh no,
There was some
yeah,
stuff here
you're
if he's
not
not
flat.
careful. Yeah, there was some stuff.
Yeah, though you can fall. I've seen Tal fall in a game against Korchnoi, I believe, where he takes, rook takes, queen takes, and he fell for queen takes g6, and the queen is just hanging on h4. So yeah, you have to be careful too. Um, I just show it for people watching. It seems like you're exploiting the pin on the g3 pawn, but suddenly the queen takes the rook on g6 and the h4 queen is left hanging. And you don't even have a bailout check because queen e4 check would be very nice, but white can take. So after f takes, g takes h4, white is left with an extra rook, the one that we sacrificed on h4. So it's a cool idea in the absence of queen takes h6. So yeah, there are some tactics here. But you were doing well. I mean, just the fact that he has to pay attention to stuff like this makes his position not so easy to
Yeah,
play.
you can tell that I
Um,
was trying right to I was really trying to get something.
I saw the video, yeah, and you
Okay, yeah,
you were clearly trying.
yeah.
I saw the opening. It wasn't in this game. The
Where
opening that you
I dropped a
blunder
pawn.
pound, but
Yeah,
it's yeah,
but White
but
has
it's playable.
compensation. Yeah, it was very interesting.
You're so way ahead in development that the pound tends not to matter that much. It's interesting. Yeah. I was between that moment and this part of the game, but Queen A3, I mean, I had to address this Queen A3 that he played. That was really awesome. And it shows that he really knows his patterns.
He knows how to draw
This
me.
move,
Yeah, yeah. He's a draw master.
he knows what he's doing. This is a very good move. And yeah, you mentioned that you thought for some time that this could be a problem, but after Queen takes B takes, if someone can play for a win, which no one can, but that is white suddenly. It's incredible. Uh, and this is a typical thing. Just ruining your pawns. I mean, they're doubled, isolated on the A file. It doesn't get worse than that. But, well, what you do have when double pawns appear is open files. And he has two semi-open files, and you have one on the king side that now is completely irrelevant because the function of this central semi-open file, very typical in this structure, is to attack the king, basically, to get an edge on the center and the king side. And now that's not going to happen without queens. So now the attention is drawn to the queen side. And he has the upper hand there, even though his structure is broken, because there's not a chance you get to these pawns. And he can occupy the B and the C files quickly and get you tied down to this pawn. Fortunately, there's nothing. You can defend both pawns rather easily, and it should be a draw. But it's funny that if anyone can try something, that's him. um, Oh, sorry, I made a mistake here. I didn't put the rest of the moves. I think it was you went back and he played rook b2 and he brought the other rook. And at some point,
There was nothing
sorry,
I.
I didn't put the move.
Yeah, but no, you got it. I mean, the moves, the rest of the game kind of speaks for itself. It's all kind of forcing. And then I think he put a rook actually on c1, because I had a rook here, so he was threatening to take on c6. Yeah, and then also to go here as well. Yeah.
And you repeated moves eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. So I should have. I guess I should have kept the queens on and just kept trying to probe for weaknesses on the king side.
Exactly, because you can play this on forever. That's the beauty of it. And it still has to be careful. Let's say you go queen f6, he will have to probably go back to d3 because this is very present now. This is there. And if he moves the king, I don't know, you may infiltrate on f3. It's not that easy. You can even prepare f6, g5. It will take time, a lot of maneuvering. But I can assure you, it's no fun for white. If anyone can make a tactical mistake and just drop something, that's white. His king is worse. Notice that when you exchange queens, it's all about the queen side now. Here it's all about the kings. I mean, he can't even think about bringing rooks or just abandoning the king side to its fate with your queen around. He has to play defensively on the wing where he doesn't want to play. He wants to play on the queen side where he's the one with the semi-open file, not on the center on the king side. And for time being, he will have to, I don't know, go back. So he always has this same tactical trick, and you can torture him for an indefinite number of moves. I'll have a. I wouldn't be happy with this if I had to play with white pieces. I don't know, I'm thinking queen e6. I don't see anything just yet, but I want to play f6, get the rook out of there, and play g5. Let's say a plan like queen e6, f6, rook h6, g5. If we open things up, well, that king is definitely going to suffer. More than ours, we have the space advantage. It's also interesting to notice how semi-open files sometimes give you something resembling a space advantage, because you don't really have a more advanced pawn in the center, but the fact that you have this just makes your pieces way more mobile on the king side. And it's much easier for you to play there. White has to play absolutely defensively. And the problem with these type of positions is that they're very hard to play on the defense. And if you ask the engine, it's just 0-0-0 forever. But it's not true. I mean, it's
he's got to watch every move. He's got to be careful. He's got to watch for tactics every move.
Exactly.
Whereas I could just almost move. I can almost move randomly and not have much to worry about. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. I mean, the only way you lose this is just drop a piece cold without noticing something really crazy. Yeah. Yeah, the engine doesn't do justice to how difficult it is to defend here with the white pieces.
So it's interesting because this game and the previous, well, not the previous round, because this was round 5, or this was round 4, but this round and round 2 both have the same common denominator that I needed to be more patient. I needed to grind things out more. I have to be more willing to just take my time and not rush things and play the game out more.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it makes sense. This happens to everyone to a certain degree. We want results. We want to see something concrete right now that makes the course of the game really clear. And sometimes the position just doesn't allow for that. In this case, yeah, you will have to grind, as you said. Just play on, make him weaken himself. Let's see if he falls for some trick. If not, if everything else fails, well, he defended well, or maybe we didn't put enough pressure. But But yeah, exchanging queens is a mistake. It was also kind of a mistake in the evaluation, because at first you kind of thought that bringing the king to the center, maybe you could get to those pawns, but it's actually white who gets the upper hand on the queen side. Not enough to put pressure on you, but well, you know what I mean. You can't really make progress, at least. Um, on the other hand, yeah, keeping queens gives you a fighting chance, fighting to win the game, not not to survive. Um, but also the queen a3 idea is a pretty typical idea, like ruin your pawns on the queen side, double them up just to get some open files and put pressure. Sometimes the files are more important than the structure because the pawns can't really be attacked, which is typical for double and isolated pawns like these ones. Um, when they're not on an open file. I think that's the key. If there's no a5 pawn, the structure is slightly different, and there's no pawn there, then yeah, they're just horrible. You put a rook on the a file, and they fall apart. But with a pawn in front of them, and this is good for many, if not most, weak pawns. If they're not on an open file, um, well, you normally can cope with them. And if you get something in return for their presence, then it might well be worth acquiring these weak pawns. In this case, he gets a much needed relief that the queen is not around to torment this poor king, and at the same time, he gets the counterplay he needs on the queen side. And I was instantly reminded of an incredible game. And I have to show this, maybe use it as an exercise even, because it's. I took this one from one of Rawson's book. I think this one was Seven Deadly Chess Scenes, if I'm not mistaken. You're gonna see the resemblance again. It's a position that is actually it all starts around here, and White didn't know how to make progress for a while because he has the better pieces. Right? He has the good bishop versus bad bishop, typical stuff. All pawns on light on dark squares, central pawns, everything, versus black structure, vulnerable, yeah, really restricting black's own bishop. Like how to break through. That's the problem. The queen side is pretty much frozen in appearance. We can attack f5 all we want, but he has enough defenders and he can add more in any case. It's not that easy to make progress, honestly. Because to make your opponent acquire some other weakness seems hard. So White had to open another front, and he started with a4. Why?
That was actually what I was looking at. I was about to suggest that, like a4, a5. But then I started to think if black plays a5, that's when I was wondering. But then maybe we can play b3, is what I was thinking. If a5, b3, or maybe even b4. Well, no. Well, I think I would prefer b3. If a5, I'm thinking b3.
b3, c takes b.
Yeah, rook b1.
Rook b1, queen a3 maybe.
Rook b2.
Rook b2, you mean? Something like
yeah, rook f b2.
Rook f2, queen takes a4.
Yeah, rook takes b3.
You take that one. You have this one on the radar. I'm thinking queen c4 to keep this one attacked.
Can almost go rook b5. Oh no, maybe not. No. Couldn't I take on c7 here?
Take on b7.
b7,
drop
yeah.
This one you may, but if you drop c3 too, then yeah, it's slightly problematic. I'm playing b3 stuff, but I think a5 is, if not a mistake, it's quite close. Because it's true that if you open the B file, this one will be backward and on a semi-open file, which could pose a big problem for black.
So sorry, I have another idea though. So A5, B3, CB, Rook B1, Queen A3. And then Rook FB2, and what did you say after that?
Queen takes A4.
Queen takes A4. Okay, and then Rook takes B3, and then you said Queen C4. Okay. Yeah, because I wanted to play C4 there. So what if I go Rook B4? So after Queen C4, Rook B4.
Oh, that's a pawn A5. And you play the
Ah, right. Too bad. Damn. Yeah, because I want to play C4 there, because then I've got Rook B7 or Bishop B7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was trying to get that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not even sure about Queen A3, honestly, but yeah, the consequences for me are a bit unclear because yeah, you get the B file, but by means of B3, you also get A4 weak, C3. I'm especially worried about this one. If that one falls, the whole white's position is it's very hard to to keep together. A4 actually has a very different idea, and it was black must have been completely surprised by this. Yeah, the expansion is something that's definitely in the cards. It's doesn't seem like much, but it's annoying. I mean, white had nothing, and suddenly he's grabbing some space. Maybe he can think of attacking on the queen side suddenly. And black played queen d7, which seems to make sense. I mean, a5, queen b5. I don't know what's going on there. A5 may even be a weakness, for all we know. But white just retreated, defending a4. Black didn't know what to do either. I mean, he's the one that's tied down, definitely. So he just shuffles the pieces around. A5. Rook cf8. He's just repeating moves. And this was white's idea. Queen a1, queen a3, queen c5. Just start to, well, poke black's pawn. So they all go to dark squares. And then maybe in the future, yeah, you will break and try to get something going on the queen side. So black played queen e7 to stop this whole nonsense. And now you can imagine what white did.
Well, a6.
More out of the box. A6, B6, well, maybe, but
there's. I'm looking at B4, so just looking at it. I'm looking at B4 and then C4. So I'm just looking at it. So B4, if en passant, and then C4, and he takes. I mean, but then we've got D5. We got two strong pawn. So after D5, let's say bishop C8, and well, that already looks pretty nice. Then D6. Queen.
yeah, so that assumes that he takes everything.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
not convinced he would take on c4.
On C4. So B4 en passant and then C4. Okay. Yeah. So Queen takes B4. Right? Is that what you think? If
I'm thinking more of queen d7 or something. Just
okay, not
holding
doing
on
nothing.
to that pawn on. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we could still do something similar with B3. Then he's forced to deal with the confrontation.
Yeah, because before black can also think of not taking on b3 at all. Yeah. Yeah, b3. It's definitely an idea. Especially if you get rook quickly here. I don't know if he will take on the first place or just keep shuffling. Or, again, play this and try to get a look on this pawn. Let's say he takes, which it has to be a critical move.
Oh, I just had another idea.
Uh,
Sorry.
hmm.
Oh, it doesn't quite work. Oh, it doesn't work. Sorry. Okay. No, I was looking at rook takes f5, but because he has two rooks, it doesn't work. But I was thinking if he takes with the bishop, like he could, if he, let's say it like rook takes f5, rook takes f5, rook takes f5, bishop takes f5. Well, I guess that doesn't even work either. I was trying to get bishop d5 and then I munch on all of his pawns on the light squares, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, you just lost all your pieces.
Yeah, yeah,
in the process.
yeah.
Um,
So yeah, so
yeah,
here if he takes, I was
c4.
thinking c4. And then he ignores
Of course,
it.
this is something to consider, but yeah, this is the easy way out.
But is it?
Which doesn't mean it's best.
What about we play c5 there, and then we grab the b pawn, and then we can play on the b file.
That's gonna take some time.
But what's he gonna do about it though?
Well, play f4, for example. If you get one of your rook distracted, he will have.
Do we have time for rook f4?
Rook f4, but then how are you getting to this one?
Well, we got two pieces to do that with. Cause so rook f4. What can black do? What can black do about it? Because I'm going to play rook fb1 next, and then like queen a3.
Trying to invade.
Rook one f3.
Rook 1 f3. Yeah, I'm trying to make something like this work.
Yeah. Seems
at the same time invade. For example.
Okay, h6. I'll go rook
h6 here.
Rook 1f. Oh, do I have to wait? Okay, I see. Can we do h5?
h5, then queen e2.
I'm not sure what queen e2 what is doing. So rook 1 f3.
And attacking that one, yeah. Rook 1 f3, b2.
Okay, queen b1.
Queen b1.
I guess you're going to take on h5. Maybe just queen h5. Right, because my pawn is there.
When you move this rook, I can take here. Yeah, I want to use this as a bait for, well, to get some concession.
It seems not too bad though, right? It almost seems playable for white. No?
Yeah, but playable doesn't cut it when you're so much better. I mean, you're just really playing with fire, leaving this pawn for, alive.
I didn't learn my lesson from round 2 yet.
Yeah, it feels like it's too much. And let's see, maybe someone in the chat mentioned the move that white plays here. I don't know.
How out of the box is it on a scale from 1 to 10? You said it was an out of the box move. Oh, somebody in the chat. So Hugh in the chat said queen a3. Oh, that would go in Okay, so that's how I was thinking that we were trying to get black's pawns to double up. I didn't consider that white would try to get his own pawns to double.
This is why your game. I was instantly reminded of this example. I mean, White took all this trouble shuffling the queen all the way to the queen side to double his own pawns, but it's just everything is about the b file, and this pawn that will be a target,
It's exactly
and you will
like the
get access
game.
to this. It's a very cool idea, and Black took. I mean, he shouldn't have. I mean, probably he should have just um, well, hang in there. It's not so easy for White to make progress if Black waits, but I don't know. We could play something Bishop h3, threatening to take and take here, and we will make Black play g6, weaken himself a little bit more, um, and choose an appropriate time to take on e7 and break on b3 as you wanted to do. And Black will have a tough endgame because, well, he has the worst structure. But Black took, maybe thinking, okay, this can't be right. The problem is, how does Black attack those? There's really no way. There's no access, and White does get access to the B file
And
effective immediately.
and white has a
um,
great bishop. Black has a terrible bishop.
yeah, great for White. Besides these 2 pounds that can't really be exploited, everything seems to be working out for him. And yeah, we finally have access to some open lines on the queen side, and it's all thanks to those horrible looking pawns. um, Black just had a terrible time from here on. It's just that it's so natural. The moves by White are just so easy. You keep him tied down to these 2. You already have 2 weaknesses to prey on. It's not like uh, you have to do anything fancy here. Just get the king to the center. Black really didn't know what to do. He played g6, king e3, king g7. And what else can you do with the black pieces here except staying put? Not much more. And now we have to make progress. And I love the next move. Even more out of the box thinking. I mean, if queen a3 was meant thinking outside the box, this is not far from it. We need this guy involved. How do we manage to get some better squares for the king?
Well, I was looking at weird moves first. I mean, if this was a blitz game or a bullet game, rather, I'm playing king f4 kind of instantly. That kind of forces h6, I think. If that does happen, h5 doesn't seem to help because then there's g5, which is terrible for white. And then if instead, so if after king f5, h6, if we go g4, but even if we had a free move there, I don't know. Well, I don't really mind him taking. I don't know why. Maybe I still maybe
kind of an important pawn. It's going to be a pass
Yeah.
supported pawn eventually. And
Yeah, he can always play h5 if he needs to. Okay. I don't know. That's yeah. So I mean, in a bullet game, I'm playing king f4 here, but in a longer time control, I'm not looking at king f4. So I briefly calculated h5, briefly calculated g4 immediately, just to open up the f file, like g4, fg, and then rook f1. But that just leads nowhere. So
true.
So the other idea, I mean, to activate the king is to bring it over to the queen side, put it on a4, or do something that way. But I don't see. I don't know. It's like a4 and then I can't even. I don't. That doesn't even make any sense because I can't even do that physically. I can't get to a4. So I don't know.
White's position, the problem with White's position is that his pawns are still too pretty. They're too good, so he played rook c5. These were too well defended, so he had to destroy the remains of his pawn structure. But there's a point to it. Besides the joke, there's a point to absolutely ruining your pawns. And it's the dark squares, and you get d4 for the king, and the pawns are dangerous now. They might just go a6 and c6. There are tactics there. And, well, what happens with these weaknesses is that black has nothing to attack them with, which is essential for a weakness to be an actual weakness. It's funny that black doesn't even take, and white has to force him to do so. He played rook b to b5, attacking this pawn. So now we threaten rook takes, and d5 falls. And with that, the entire black's structure. So with that in mind, black finally agreed to take. And we don't take with the rook. If we take with the rook, we have the same problems to invade. And the position is pretty and everything, but I still had to break through, so white took with the pawn. And look at those pawns. This is just insane. Every single pawn is a weakness, and every single pawn is awesome. At the same time, you get the king to d4, and
Every pawn is on a dark square.
Yeah, it's like the activity of white's pieces trumps all other considerations. And I think that's kind of the point. You can acquire weaknesses because, well, chess is a game of compensation. If you get something that's more relevant than the weakness itself, then, well, so be it. Go for it. In this case, white gets all the fun. He gets all the play because the king is centralized. d5 is a huge weakness. There are tactics everywhere to promote pawns, and black can just sit and wait, which has to be really frustrating seeing these horrible pawns and still not be able to do anything. So yeah, he did exactly that. He stands still. I mean, any other move, the problem is you can't touch anything without breaking it. You play a6, rook b6, that's even more weaknesses on the dark squares. So king d8. Now he went a6. Pretty cool move because we're going to get a pass pawn that we can defend. Black didn't even take that one. If he takes, what do you think white's going to do?
Rook a5.
Yeah. This one falls. The king goes to d4. This one is likely to follow the same fate. Yeah, it's pretty concerning. And rook takes a6, attacks the bishop, so black doesn't even get the time to activate this rook properly. Like rook b7.
Yeah.
Rook b7, rook takes a6.
Yeah, and then rook d6 looks pretty good.
And this one is, yeah.
Yeah.
So black still tries to hold everything together. Now the last Yeah, it's the last beautiful move white finds to put an end
I'm looking at
to black's mistake.
c6. So c6, he either has to move the rook or take on c6. So let's say c6 bc.
Yeah, we don't have any access to b7 or b8 just yet. So.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it doesn't quite work. I had to look at the forcing move first. Okay, hang on. So, I'm looking at AB, and then rook b7, and then I was looking at a5 or a4, but I'm very unsure about that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's too convincing.
Also, I'm also wondering if I can put my bishop on a4.
The key is that the passed pawns are giving you some tactical opportunities. This one is very unsuspected, like many of the moves in this game, really.
Like I was thinking, like king d4, bishop f3, bishop d1, bishop a4, and trying to get something with that, but it's not clear to me on how exactly that would.
This is the key. Your most advanced pawn.
Oh, can I not just can I trade there twice and then king d4 and then d6 is or d5 is falling, so ab, and then rook takes b7, rook takes b7, king. Oh, he can come back though. So after king d4, there's king c6.
He's not falling into sooks when he will have some bishop moves.
What about hang on? What about it doesn't. I'm trying to get rook b4 in, and then get his king on b7 so I can take on c4. But I don't really have time for. I don't really have time for that. Yeah, I wonder though. No, yeah, it didn't work. I was thinking A B and then rook b4, but he can just do whatever. He can just move the rook away. Yeah.
It's a tactical opportunity that you get thanks to this pawn being disadvantaged. It is a tactic.
So you said I get what?
This advanced pawn is giving you a tactical opportunity. I mean, that pawn is quite close to winning.
Oh, so you're looking at rook b6, hitting his bishop. He has to move the bishop or defend it with the rook. So let's say rook b6, rook e7. But then I can give it.
Well, the rook is overworked there. It's defending just too much.
Yeah. So then if I go a takes b7 check and then king b8.
Your rook clearly improved. Where is it gonna go to? from visits.
Oh, then we go rook d6, and then winning d6. Oh man, I would never see that in the game. I would never play rook b6.
Nah, it's just practice. Rook v6. It's a takes b a7. No one stops that pawn. So yeah, you just invaded. This rook is a monster. Attacking e6. There's really no hope here. And yeah, rook e7 just gets the rook.
So who is this Rosenthalis guy? He's what country is he from? Do you know anything about him?
Latvia, I think. I'm not sure really.
Rosenthalis.
Or Romania.
1993 from Germany. The game was in Germany in the Bundesliga in 93.
Let's see.
But it almost sounds like Italian or Argentinian.
Oh yeah, Lithuanian. Yeah, he was born in Vilnius. Yeah. Close enough.
Wow. Last FIDE was 2489. I mean, cause that was impressive.
Yeah, no, this is like, it must be one of his best games, his immortal games. So many.
Yeah.
And the positional ideas he found are incredible. He just read his pawn structure completely just to get open files and squares for the pieces. And then he finds this shot at the end. It's a dream game. And the depth of all that stuff with a4, queen d1, queen a1, queen a3, that's something.
So
I don't even. I mean,
Lithuania.
I have my doubts that
it's actually.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. It's from Lithuania. That's his. His FIDE profile. Yeah, Lithuanian.
Yeah, I honestly I doubt that he saw after. I don't know if he saw everything.
Oh, of course.
He played a4.
Yeah. But it was just
sometimes it's just
the positional ideas. So the core concept of just creating weaknesses in exchange for aesthetic beauty.
And now, while black is about to fall apart, he played bishop g8, rook f6, and that rook is gonna make a mess out of black's position. Well, rook d8, king d4, and b takes 8, rook d8, and
the rest is a matter of technique. Yeah.
Yeah, this falls. We have two passers.
Yeah.
As ugly as they are, now they are pass pawns. So yeah, they work anyway. Yeah, this game was incredible. That queen a3 instantly reminded me of this game. It was
it's very similar.
This guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, that's interesting because that was only like 13 moves. I mean, I guess that's a lot of moves, but the board completely transformed. Like if you were walking past this guy's game, and then you look at it like 40 minutes later. So if you're like in this position, or no, not even here, right? It was kind of from here, and then or I can't move forward, but yeah, if you you walk by it again like half an hour later.
Move forward, sorry.
Yeah, but if you just jump to that last position, it's like, what happened? Like how did you get that end position? Okay, I can see it on now. Yeah, so
I just
then you jump here and it's like what happened, right? Yeah.
Yeah, complete makeover for that for that game. It's pretty impressive idea. So yeah, I mean, I thought just to do this with the games, not to just go through the entire thing. Yeah. It's more dynamic. I think it also it's easier to fit like one particular moment of the game that.
And it's not like I'm not making mistakes every move, right? It's like 2 or 3 points in a game. Yeah, critical points. And yeah, it's not maybe for like lower rated players that are like making mistakes on move, like 5, 6, 9, 14. Yeah, then it makes more sense to go move by move, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Or if you want to a deep analysis of a game, that's fine. But yeah, sometimes it takes forever to analyze a full game, and from time to time, it makes sense that if you can't allocate that amount of time to going thoroughly through every game, then maybe pick a moment or two and try to go deep into that, understand what's going on there. I thought, well, some of these kind of showed some flaws in the thought process, I thought, or in the evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that those moments were interesting. And then, well, I put this queen a3 stuff because it's a nice positional
Mm-hmm.
pattern. I bet a little bit strange and not that common. It's a good thing to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's the application of the idea that you can damage your own pawn structure if you're getting something in concrete. In this case, open files and ways to invade your opponent's position, um, more dark squares that you dominate, a lot of things actually. um, you can even absolutely destroy uh, your own pawn structure to to achieve that from time to time.
Yeah, and also a theme behind those two games again for me was just being more patient. It's something, it's a skill I think I need uh, to work on, because I'm not the most patient player and I don't grind. I'm not a grinder. um, even though I like Petrosian and Karpov, I don't like I yeah, I don't like the really long games. I think I just get kind of burned out, a little bit tired, but it fits within the positional, like a positional player's toolbox. That's like, one of the skill set of a positional
Yeah.
player. I have a bunch of books that I'm still working through, but maybe I'll look for something. Maybe there's a game collection by Anderson, Ulf Anderson. Maybe I'll add that to
There has
my,
to be. There should be.
yeah, to my list of books um, to read. Yeah,
Yeah,
they said I.
I'm a huge fan
Oh,
of Rawson, so I always cite him. I always quote him when I can. Um,
Rosen, the W,
oh,
the
Jonathan
British,
Rawson,
yeah,
yeah.
the British GM. I just finished watching. You know how Chessable has like a short and sweet, like the free
Oh
versions of their.
yeah, Fast
Yeah,
and Furious.
I was doing. I, the Chess for Zebras is one of his books. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, I read that
Oh, you
one. Yeah,
read that
that's
one?
great.
Okay. I just watched a little excerpt because I was curious. I think his
It's
books
very
are different,
original.
right? Like his books are more,
Yeah.
almost more philosophical, right? And a lot more, less annotation, less moves, and more discussion and like thought process, and yeah, so very different type
He
of
talks about something that you might like, which is being versus doing. Oh,
being
sorry.
versus doing.
Uh, oh, no, I hear you again. Sorry, I thought I lost the audio.
Oh
It
no.
was just at some delay. Um, yeah, being versus doing some. I mean, we always want to be active, to make progress in the position, and sometimes you can't. I mean, the position just doesn't allow for that. There's no progress to be made, uh, or progress is almost just too slow and too tiny to even notice. So do your best not to harm the position. Sometimes you just need to be, he says.
Mm.
There are positions where you have to be. Not don't touch anything, don't do anything crazy, just improve little by little. Uh,
It,
don't go for it.
is that one
Which
of
is one of the
his
hardest things to do in chess.
is that one of his seven deadly chess sins?
Yeah, I think it's under one of them.
Mm.
I don't remember exactly where he put it, but yeah.
Mm.
Um, um, but yeah, it's like this eagerness to always do something or to punish your opponent, sometimes for something he didn't even do wrong. um, yeah, some positions just allow for no improvement. That's or not a clear improvement, or you can't really shift the course of the game just on the basis of your own will.
So
And
stop trying to
that's
force it so much. If
yeah, and
there's
it's easier
nothing to
said
force.
than done. Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes you have to just accept that, yeah, there's not that much you can do, but your position is still not bad. I think that's the crucial point. You have an acceptable position. Maybe it just doesn't allow for everything you want to do, but it's still valid. It can change in the future. It will. So don't despair and do something crazy just because you feel entitled for more somehow, or you think you should do something active with it when it just doesn't warrant. um, and yeah, it's well, uh, I think both books and Chess for Zebras and the Sandali chess scenes are great. They're full of insights of that type that are really useful.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot of good things about Seven Deadly Chess Sins. Um, he wrote another book that is supposed to be very similar to that one, but it's more modern. I don't know if that's the Chess for Zebras one. Um,
Maybe it's yeah,
is it
it
quite
was written
similar?
after. Yeah.
Okay.
It
Um,
follows the same style though, just for Zebras. That's why I like his books are really original. That's they don't resemble any other chess book that I've read.
yeah, I'll try to get to it maybe one day, but you know it's so hard. It's so I'm still finishing Fisher's 60 memorable games.
That's good.
Yeah,
For practical purposes, I think that's to improve your game. That's the way to go.
I found it really
um,
interesting because like I'm still in his early years, but I found it interesting like just how many mistakes he was making in his games. Because like everything I heard about Fisher, I expected him to be like perfect, like Carlson type, you know. But no, he made so many mistakes. There were tons of tactical mistakes and there are a lot of mistakes. So that's very interesting to me. Yeah, that's the main thing I've come across so far. Um, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Well, it was great again to get another lesson after a break. Um, maybe next week. So like we can look at some of my online games. I've dipped this month quite a bit. I dropped a lot of rating points, but just starting to crawl back up a little bit over the past couple days. Yeah, it's hard, but I'm trying and working on the tactics with my puzzle streak as I let you know. So yeah, just trying to grind it out. It's hard, but that's the life of a chess player, I guess.
yeah. You made a lot of progress, though. I mean, you've gone a long way. um,
I don't know if I have. I mean, I think there's quite a plateau over the past year and a half. I think I've really been kind of stuck. I made some progress for a while on my over the board rating. I had a couple of great tournaments, and then a few bad tournaments. But my online rating has kind of stagnated. But then maybe it's just some adjusting too, right? Change some openings, right? The French and the Dutch against
yeah,
three.
a lot of new stuff.
Yeah, the Dutch is a weird change for me, right? Like that's a weird change. That's not my style, but that's what I'm doing. That'll probably be interesting for you to look at, right? Because you probably don't look at too many Dutch games, right?
Not really.
Yeah.
I will have to learn something new here, probably.
That's good. I gotta keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
And
Why the Dutch, though? I had to ask.
Why? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Um, One is that I was watching, you know, Simon Williams, like Ginger Williams.
Yeah.
Ginger GM. Um, yeah, I mean, his style is like complete opposite of mine. He's like reckless and super aggressive and insane, and he'll sacrifice everything. But I watching him play, like when he plays a classical Dutch, sometimes he'll just completely roll over his opponents who are titled players like IMs and GMs, and just completely crush them in like 30 moves, just completely. And I just found that amazing because it's like the games weren't even close. He just completely rolled them over. And as I said before, like in a classical game, an important classical game against the former world challenger, what's his name? Gelfand, I think. He beat Gelfand
Oh, that was famous.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and that
Quite
was
famous.
right after Gelfand played, I think, the world, like right after he won the candidates. So he was like really strong, and then Simon Wong played the Dutch against him. Yeah, so that it showed me that the Dutch is valid, and I like that I can play it on move one. So, and I like that most white players don't like playing against it. It's uncomfortable. And white players have to be prepared for the classical Dutch, the Stonewall, and the, what's it called? The Leningrad. So,
Yeah.
but black can just focus on one of them. And I like that I can play it against I can play it against D4, against C4, against knight C3, knight F3. So you can play it on move one against a myriad of different openings. And that's pretty awesome. And playing against D4, I mean, I like the Nimzo, but I never had a good weapon against knight F3. Because the Queen's Indian was not doing it for me. Queen's Indian is really hard to play as black. It's tough. You're kind of positionally, it's hard to play, I think, for black. So I never liked those positions, and I don't play King's Indian, so the Grunfeld doesn't work for me because you can't force a Grunfeld. So I've liked the transition into the Dutch. It's weird because it's not my style of being kind of like aggressive, but I think it holds up. My win rate, the stats don't lie with it. Like I'm doing much better with the Dutch than I was with the
It
Nimzo.
went up.
Oh yeah, I'll show. Yeah, did I? Yeah, it's yeah. Like my performance rating is about 100 points higher with the Dutch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I'm still new to it. I'm still learning it. So I don't know that. So I quite like that change. Yeah, and my French change has been really good too. It's even better. Like my knight C3 versus knight D2 is much. It's like a 10% improvement, like win rate.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So
That's working.
yeah. So I think it'll be interesting once you go over some of my Dutch games because it's very different. It's a very different type of chess. I mean,
Yeah, as a D4 player, I know it's. I mean, I experienced it too. It's annoying. I mean, you face a Dutch and yeah. Oh, how was this supposed to be played? I mean, I don't even remember the last time I
yeah.
played against it, and I have to.
But
Yeah.
at your level, what percent? So out of the three Dutch types, what percent is classical though? Because that's the least common, I think.
I think I played it like in 3 classical games. I don't recall many classical games.
No, but
Where
it can be online too, though. But I mean, like most people play the Stonewall or the Leningrad. I'm guessing, right? Not too many people play the classical.
Yeah, no, I get the Leningrad.
Yeah.
When I get the Dutch, I
Yeah.
get the Leningrad.
That's the most, like, yeah. The computer likes the Leningrad the most. But
Yeah, I got it a couple of times, but yeah, it's almost never. I mean, I can name
Well,
like a couple of games and that's it.
yeah. I know
I mean, Glasgow, I
objectively
think
it's not the best, but it's 0.5. It's playable. It's playable. 0.5 is
yeah, it's
playable.
playable.
Yeah.
You can call it risky, but it's not like it's refuted or anything, which
Yeah.
makes it more annoying.
Yeah. And you
um,
get the psychological benefit on move one because yeah, most white players feel a little uncomfortable, you know.
you have to be super prepared. I mean, normally you're with the white pieces, you have to do so much work on well the main lines of pretty much anything else, and someone plays the Dutch and it's fine, and you don't even remember what you used to play against it. It's been so long. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
You just focus on everything else, and um, yeah, there are so many valid openings, and the Dutch is one of them.
Yeah.
We tend to forget.
Yeah, surprisingly, there's almost no information on the Dutch, or there's very little information. There's very few courses on it. There's the stuff by Simon Williams, right? And then there's like one or two others, but there's not much on the Dutch, which is amazing. Like there's so many books and courses on every other opening, but not the Dutch. So that might also make it kind of difficult for white players because they don't know what black's ideas are.
Yeah, you get to do your own research because you played, and well, with the white pieces, they're not to pay that much attention.
Yeah, and they don't get it too often, but I get it every game that I face
Yeah,
d4, c4, knight f3, knight c3. So that's why I like the Dutch.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, I will let you go. I know it's really late there. Sorry, what was that?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, what?
No, there's a little bit of a delay between us. I was just going to say, I'll let you go. I know it's really late there now.
Oh, it's
But it was great catching up again. And yeah, the new webcam is working out great. I just remember our first videos years ago. Oh my God, how long how far we've come since then.
yeah. I'm afraid to take a peek, but I will, and I will try to notice the differences. I'm sure it will be easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We'll stay in touch and I'll see you in the next lesson.
Thanks, Tyler.
Okay. Thank
See you
you.
next time.
Okay. I'm just going to disconnect if I can remember how to do that. There we go. Okay. Give me a second. Okay. Yeah. Thanks again to Alessandro. Just reading chat here. How long do I book this for? The classes? Do you mean like how long each class is in terms of like the length of each class? Well, Alessandro is very generous with his time. So technically they're supposed to be an hour, but this was 2.5 hours. Yeah, he's overly generous with his time because, well, we connected first for like at least half an hour because I always run into technical issues setting it up. It's actually not easy to set up the stream where he's connected and he can see me and I can see him and he's on stream and everything. So had to set that up, and then the lesson itself was well, an hour and 45 minutes. Checking my timing here right now. So next time, before the next lesson, I need to, how does he find himself? Well, he's been like, I've been working with him for like maybe 4 years or so. So yeah, he's just generous with his time. So you can subscribe to his YouTube channel. He just started his YouTube channel about 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So he's a his style is, he's a very positional player. So that's where I get my positional sense from, is all of his teachings. Okay, I'm actually kind of losing my voice right now from the lesson, and kind of tired. Whenever I get a lesson, I'm always so tired. It takes a lot of my energy for some reason. So I actually think I'm going to end the stream now, unfortunately. I was hoping to do some puzzles and play a game or two, but I'm too drained. So I'm going to end it here, but I hope to be back tomorrow, back in my regular routine of doing Puzzle Streak and then playing some games. And I'm slowly starting to crawl back up on the rating ladder as well. So that's going to be it for me today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good night. See you next time.